you something. I love this guy. Tim is the kind of person who should be in politics. Born in a small town, served his country, taught kids, coached football, took care of his neighbors. He knows who he is, and he knows what's important. You can tell those flannel shirts he wears don't come from some political consultant. They come from his closet, and they have been through some stuff. They have been through some stuff. That's right.
Just weeks ago, Tim Walz was a highly accomplished and respected governor, but one with a very modest national profile. Tonight, though, he's the headliner at the Democratic National Convention on a program that includes former President Bill Clinton, former Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Walz will further endear himself to the American people as he delivers this evening's keynote address in front of tens of thousands of people in Chicago, tens of millions of people across the country and around the world. The Minnesota governor will officially accept the nomination for vice president. It's precisely the sort of eruption in popularity that simply doesn't happen without the person being the right person, the right candidate. And Walz seems to fit the bill. Genuine, authentic, and natural. And don't take our word for it. Listen to the people who've known him best. Joining us now, one of Governor Walz's former students, Noah Hobbs. Noah, I was thinking that every teacher in the world, if they thought that someday their students would be the ones providing witness testimony to how they changed their lives, it's just such an interesting dynamic. You know him best. You know the thing that he gave himself to, teaching and coaching. Tell us what he was like.
Yeah, so I had Mr. Walz back in 2005 as a sophomore at Mankato West, as a junior at Mankato West, and yeah, just high energy. What you see on the campaign trail is how he is as a teacher. The cadence, the excitement, the joy, bringing that to global geography to a 16-year-old is hard to do day in and day out, and I don't think you can fake that. As you know, there's been more interest in us students sharing our stories, and I'm certainly cognizant that it's not a unique. I don't have a unique story about Mr. Walz. That we all were deeply impacted in a very positive way from his classroom.
You know, I think if you didn't already know it as a parent, when COVID hit and our kids were home with us instead of in school with their beloved and brilliant and gifted teachers, I think everyone really understands how special and what a special skill set a teacher has. Is it surprising to you that it's such a natural transition, right? And I know he was in Congress before and he was governor before. There were steps along the way. But were there any signs in the classroom that he would be really good in this line of work as well?
Yeah, I mean, 19 years ago, I don't think I would have been really surprised if you told me I'd be sitting here giving an interview about my high school teacher running for vice president. But it's not surprising in the way that he's able to connect with everyday folks. I mean, public school classroom in rural southern Minnesota, middle America is a great cross section of what average people are, and Mr. Walz has proven to be able to connect with us and those folks every single day in a way that's authentic and genuine, and so it's not surprising now, but certainly 19 years ago I would tell you that I don't believe you if I'd be here right now.
There's something too, though. I mean, students don't suffer fools. And I think there's a lot of focus on what's wrong, sort of with screens and access to the internet. The other side of it might be just this BS detector. I see it in my own son. They see through baloney and artifice and falseness. And it seems like that's a skill set that's serving him very well on the campaign trail, as well as the quickness. I want you to do this assignment. A student will say, why? The ability to turn around and answer something on his feet seems to me to be something he learned fielding important but maybe pointed inquiries from students. What was his dynamic like as a teacher with his students?
Yeah, he certainly asked more questions of students than I normally had as teachers. It wasn't for him just sitting, at the front by the whiteboard saying, this is what the lesson of today is. There was a lot of walking around the room, and we didn't have air conditioning back in 2005, 2006, and so it would get pretty hot in fall and summer, and so I just remember by the end of class, he would be fully invested, would be, perspiring and hand gestures. The more excited he'd get, he'd ask questions of students what they thought, and would actually value our input and really want to draw out our thoughts on the topic at hand. And so it was a really kind of a 360-degree experience of learning, and it was hard, even as a student that wasn't really great in high school and not interested in learning. It's hard to outrun, Mr. Walz's way of teaching and engaging students and getting them to be active participants in their school day.
Just listening to you talk, I'm thinking about sort of my time in politics, and what you're doing is you're trying to motivate people to do something that's hard, right? Voting, it's a privilege when you can get people to go and take time before work or after work. And I used to go with my mom to vote. And I wonder if you can just speak to how he motivated his students to do things that, maybe it was a book he didn't want to read, but he seems able to tell you why he's asking you to do something and then motivate people to do things on the campaign trail. And I wonder if that was something you witnessed in the classroom.
Yeah, he was, Mr. Walz was incredibly motivating, and I think that's one of the skills that we see that he brings to the national spotlight right now. But we do this exercise that always stuck with me is we'd have to bring in a news story once a week for extra credit, and couldn't have it be something that we repeated from another classmate, so you have to discuss it for 30 to 60 seconds. And Mr. Walz wasn't huge on homework, right? So this was something that you couldn't just take home and do. So you have to bring it in the classroom, have a conversation in front of your peers, and couldn't repeat something else. And so what that really did was expand the world, I think, from, beyond Mankato. Certainly the world's a very large place, and Mr. Walz brought that to, us in southern Minnesota. And he's incredibly well-traveled also, and this is back 2005, 2006, before Google or smartphones were huge for us. And so we had a real-life interactive encyclopedia right there in our classroom back in Mankato. And that just really motivated, I think, a lot of students to learn and be interested in their academics.